General Hospital. Deadly discoveries rock Port Charles as to bodies surface. The tranquil waterfront of Port Charles becomes the center of a devastating double tragedy that will forever change the lives of several beloved residents. Recent developments in the ongoing drama have taken a dark and unexpected turn, culminating in shocking discoveries that leave the community reeling and families shattered. The first grim discovery: Danny Morgan and Rocco Falconeri, two young men who have grown particularly close following the recent family upheavals in their lives, make a horrifying discovery during what should have been an ordinary afternoon by the docks. The teenagers, who have been dealing with their own family drama involving restraining orders and custody battles, stumble upon something that will haunt them forever: a body floating in the murky waters near the pier. The boys immediately contact authorities, their voices shaking as they report their grisly find to the Port Charles Police Department. When the police arrive and retrieve the body, they make a shocking identification that sends ripples throughout the entire legal and criminal community of Port Charles. The victim is revealed to be Judge Haren, a prominent figure in the local judicial system, who has been presiding over several high-profile cases that have significant implications for the town's power structure. Judge Haren's death immediately raises questions about the ongoing power struggles within Port Charles. The judge had been handling cases that directly impact the criminal enterprises operating within the city, including matters that affect both Sonny Corinthos and his emerging rival, Jen Sidwell. The timing of the murder seems far from coincidental, suggesting that someone wanted to eliminate a judicial obstacle to their criminal ambitions. Sonny Corinthos, the longtime mob boss of Port Charles, quickly develops his own theory about the murder, given his escalating conflict with Sidwell, who has been systematically working to undermine Sonny's operations and take control of the criminal landscape. Sonny immediately suspects that his new enemy is responsible for Judge Haren's death. The murder fits perfectly with Sidwell's pattern of eliminating obstacles to his plans, and the timing coincides with several legal proceedings that could have significantly impacted Sidwell's operations in Port Charles. The investigation into Judge Haren's murder becomes a priority for the Port Charles Police Department, but the complexity of the case is immediately apparent. The judge's involvement in multiple high-stakes cases means that there are numerous potential suspects with powerful motives for wanting him eliminated. The police must navigate the dangerous waters of organized crime while trying to piece together the evidence that will lead them to the killer. A second tragic discovery: just as the community begins to process the shock of Judge Haren's murder, another devastating discovery rocks Port Charles to its core. Several days after the first body is found, Trina Robinson and Kai are taking a romantic stroll along the riverbank when they encounter something that will traumatize them both. What starts as a peaceful walk turns into a nightmare when they spot another body in the water. Trina, despite her fear and revulsion, approaches the body to get a better look. What she discovers sends shockwaves through her entire being. The victim is Scout Kane, the young daughter of Drew Kane and the late Sam McCall. The sight of the child's lifeless form floating in the water is more than Trina can bear, and she immediately calls for help while trying to process the horror of what she has witnessed. The news of Scout's death travels quickly through Port Charles, reaching Drew within hours of the discovery. The congressman-elect, who has been embroiled in numerous controversies and power plays, rushes to the riverbank where his daughter's body has been recovered. The sight that greets him there will forever change his life and force him to confront the devastating consequences of his recent actions and decisions. Police investigators, already stretched thin by the Judge Haren murder case, now face the heartbreaking task of determining how and why Scout died. Their preliminary assessment suggests that the young girl may have taken her own life, a conclusion that devastates everyone who knew the child. The possibility of suicide in someone so young sends shockwaves through the community and raises serious questions about what could have driven Scout to such desperation. Drew's devastating realization: as Drew stands beside his daughter's body, overwhelmed by grief and disbelief, he begins to piece together the events that may have led to this tragedy. The recent custody battles, legal disputes, and his controversial decisions regarding Scout's future come flooding back to him. With crushing clarity, he realizes that his insistence on taking Scout to Washington, D.C., despite her obvious reluctance and the opposition from her extended family, may have played a crucial role in her emotional state. The restraining orders that Drew had served against Scout's family members, including her grandmother Alexis Davis and her half-brother Danny, suddenly take on a sinister significance. By cutting Scout off from the people she loved most, particularly in the aftermath of her mother Sam's death. Drew may have inadvertently isolated his daughter during the most vulnerable period of her young life. The realization that his actions may have contributed to Scout's decision to end her life becomes an unbearable weight on his conscience. Drew's political ambitions and his focus on establishing himself in Washington now seem trivial and meaningless in the face of his daughter's death. The power plays and manipulation that had consumed so much of his attention pale in comparison to the ultimate price his family has paid. The man who had been so determined to control every aspect of his life and Scout's future is now confronted with the ultimate loss of control, his inability to save his own child from despair. The community watches in stunned silence as Drew grapples with his grief and guilt. His previous antagonistic behavior toward family members and his ruthless pursuit of his political career now seem like the actions of a man who had lost sight of what truly mattered. The irony is not lost on observers that Drew's efforts to protect Scout by taking her away from Port Charles may have ultimately led to the very outcome he was trying to prevent. The investigation unfolds. As the police continue their dual investigations into both deaths, the connections between the two cases begin to emerge. While Judge Haren's murder appears to be connected to the criminal underworld's power struggles, Scout's apparent suicide seems to stem from personal family trauma and the unintended consequences of custody disputes and family separation. The investigators must carefully examine all possible scenarios, while being sensitive to the grief-stricken families involved. The possibility that Scout's death might not be suicide, despite initial appearances, cannot be ruled out entirely. The violent climate in Port Charles, with multiple criminal organizations vying for power, means that even the death of a child could potentially be connected to larger criminal conspiracies. Sonny continues to maintain his suspicions about Sidwell's involvement in Judge Haren's death, but he also finds himself affected by the news of Scout's passing. Despite his conflicts with Drew, the loss of a child resonates with Sonny's own experiences as a father, and he begins to question whether the escalating violence in Port Charles has created an environment where even innocent children are not safe. The double tragedy serves as a stark reminder of how the actions of adults can have devastating consequences for the most vulnerable members of the community. As Port Charles mourns the loss of Judge Haren and Scout, the residents must confront the reality that their ongoing conflicts and power struggles have created a toxic environment that threatens everyone's safety and well-being. The investigation into these deaths will likely reveal deeper truths about the nature of power, family, and responsibility in Port Charles, forcing all involved to reckon with the consequences of their choices and the true cost of their ambitions. Next, we will learn about the latest buzz surrounding Jocelyn Jack's and Vaughn's intriguing dynamic that's got everyone talking. In the ever-evolving world of Port Charles, the spotlight is shining brightly on Jocelyn Jack's and her unexpected connection with Vaughn. But not all feedback is glowing. Viewers have been quick to voice their opinions, and it seems the pairing isn't winning over the masses quite yet. Many are drawing parallels to iconic duos from the show's storied past, particularly noting how Joss and Vaughn echo the spirited energy of young Anna Devane and Robert Scorpio back in the 1980s. That era was defined by high-stakes adventures, undeniable tension, and the chemistry that kept audiences hooked for years. Interestingly, the age gap between Joss and Vaughn mirrors that of Anna and Robert, adding another layer of familiarity to their interactions. Fans reminisce about how Anna and Robert's banter blended danger with romance, creating a blueprint for soap opera intrigue that still resonates today. This comparison isn't just superficial. It's rooted in the way their scenes unfold with a mix of mystery and flirtation, much like those classic episodes where espionage and emotion intertwined seamlessly. As the storyline progresses, it's clear the writers are tapping into that nostalgic vibe, perhaps to reignite passion among longtime viewers who cherish those golden years of General Hospital. Diving deeper into the fan reactions, the online community is abuzz with speculation about where this Joss and Vaughn arc might lead. One enthusiastic supporter shared, "I'm really getting into this plotline. It's fresh and unpredictable. While I'm not convinced they're a direct reboot of Robert and Anna, their energy is captivating, and I'm eager to see if it blossoms into a true romance or if Vaughn becomes Joss's equivalent of a protective figure like Jason." This sentiment highlights the curiosity building around their potential as a couple, with some imagining Vaughn stepping into a role similar to Jason Morgan's steadfast presence in Joss's life. Expanding on that, Jason's return to the canvas has sparked calls for more interactions between him and Joss. especially amid the chaos at the 5 Points area. Another viewer noted, "Those Jason and Joss moments are the highlight for me right now. They're the only thing making Jason's stint at the 5 Points bearable. The awkwardness with Britt just doesn't hold my interest. It's become too predictable and forced." Indeed, Britt's involvement has drawn criticism for feeling contrived, pulling focus away from more compelling threads. To enrich this, imagine if the writers introduced subtle flashbacks or Easter eggs referencing Jason's history with Joss's family, adding emotional depth and tying back to the Jack's legacy in Port Charles. The spy elements woven into Joss and Vaughn's story are another hot topic, with many praising the intrigue, but wishing for stronger character growth. A fan commented, "The espionage angle is a winner. It's got that thrilling edge General Hospital does so well. However, I hope they invest more in fleshing out these characters and their bonds right now. It feels a bit rushed." This critique points to a common desire for layered development, where relationships evolve organically amid the covert operations. Picture Vaughn uncovering hidden artifacts from past WSB missions, or Joss grappling with moral dilemmas that test her loyalties, drawing from real-world spy thriller inspirations like those in classic films. Such additions could elevate the narrative, making it not just about action but about personal transformation. Furthermore, theories abound about Vaughn's background, with one intriguing idea suggesting he could be the son of Frisco Jones, the legendary WSB agent. "I'd be totally on board with Vaughn as Frisco's offspring," a commenter enthused. "And why not go all in, make Emma Drake an agent too? With her Devane and Scorpio heritage, it's a no-brainer." This fan theory opens doors to family reunions and generational conflicts, potentially linking back to Frisco's adventurous past and enriching the show's tapestry of interconnected histories. Shifting perspectives, some observers see Joss as the dominant force in this duo, likening her to the Scorpio archetype, strategic and commanding. My take is different. Joss embodies the Scorpio spirit here, while Vaughn seems more like a supportive player. Another fan observed, "She's subtly steering the ship, even if he hasn't caught on yet." This dynamic flips traditional roles, positioning Joss as the leader in their budding alliance, which could lead to empowering storylines where she navigates WSB challenges with grit and intelligence. Eden McCoy's portrayal of Joss has been a standout, earning her praise as one of General Hospital's all-time greats. "I'm loving this entire Joss WSB saga," a devotee raved. Eden McCoy is delivering performances that rival the best in GH history. She brings depth, vulnerability, and fire to every scene. To build on this, consider how Joss's evolution from a privileged teen to a savvy operative mirrors broader themes of growth in soap operas, where young characters often step into heroic roles amid family legacies and personal trials. Beyond the immediate pairing, the broader implications for Port Charles are worth exploring. If Vaughn's ties to Frisco materialize, it could resurrect old rivalries or alliances, perhaps involving characters like Felicia or Maxie, adding familial drama to the mix. Imagine secret meetings in hidden WSB bunkers, coded messages that unravel long-buried secrets, or even crossovers with other agents from the show's lore. Fans are also clamoring for more integration with established plots, like tying Joss's adventures to the ongoing Quartermain family sagas, or the lingering shadows of past villains. This could create ripple effects, influencing everything from romantic entanglements to high-stakes rescues, keeping the audience on the edge of their seats. As the episodes unfold, the excitement builds around potential twists. Will Joss and Vaughn's chemistry ignite into passion, or will betrayals shatter their trust? The age difference, reminiscent of Anna and Robert's, adds a timeless appeal, but it's the modern twists that could define this era. Viewers speculate on romantic hurdles, such as external threats from shadowy organizations or internal conflicts rising from Joss's ties to Sonny Corinthus's world. One can envision intense confrontations, where Vaughn's follower nature clashes with Joss's leadership, forcing character growth and deeper bonds. Ultimately, the Joss and Vaughn storyline is a testament to General Hospital's knack for blending nostalgia with fresh narratives, captivating both new and veteran fans. With Eden McCoy at the helm, Joss's journey promises empowerment and surprises. Whether it's spy thrills, romantic sparks, or family revelations, the path ahead is ripe with possibilities. Next, we will learn about the ongoing chatter surrounding Carly Corinthos and her unmistakable habit that's starting to wear thin on the audience. In the bustling, drama-filled streets of Port Charles, Carly Corinthos has become synonymous with high-volume confrontations, and it's not escaping anyone's notice. day after day. Whether she's clashing with family members or old rivals, Carly's go-to response seems to involve raising her voice to deafening levels, leaving viewers wondering if there's ever a quiet moment in her world. Fans have been quick to point out how this pattern escalates, with each outburst appearing more intense than the last, almost like she's channeling the raw energy of a storm brewing over the harbor. Imagine her storming into the Metro Court, voice booming across the lobby as she demands answers from Nina or Sonny, her words cutting through the air like thunder. This isn't just occasional, it's a staple of her scenes, prompting a wave of exhaustion among the show's dedicated followers, who crave more nuance in her interactions. To add to this, perhaps the writers are drawing from Carly's turbulent history, her rises from humble beginnings to power player, using these vocal explosions to underscore her unyielding determination. But it's clear the repetition is testing patience. Longtime watchers recall similar fiery moments from past iterations of the character. Yet this current portrayal amps up the volume in ways that feel relentless, making everyday disputes feel like epic battles. Delving into the heart of fan discussions, the online forums are lighting up with insights into why Carly's shouting has become such a focal point. One viewer thoughtfully remarked, "I suspect Laura Wright brings a naturally booming voice to the role, but it's amplified by deliberate character decisions. She's arguably the most approachable version of Carly we've seen, radiating a certain warmth in quieter moments, yet she's also the boldest and most unfiltered, which can sometimes overshadow her strengths." This take highlights the duality of Wright's performance, where her inherent vocal power blends with Carly's brash personality, creating a character who's as comforting as she is commanding. Expanding on that, think about how this contrasts with previous actresses like Sarah Brown or Tamara Braun, who infused Carly with a slyer edge. Wright's interpretation leans into outright force, perhaps to mirror the character's evolution through betrayals and triumphs. Fans appreciate the authenticity, but there's a growing call for subtler shades, like whispered threats or calculated silences that could add layers to her confrontations, drawing from real-life dynamics where volume doesn't always equal impact. The quirks of soap opera acting have also sparked plenty of conversation, with enthusiasts both admiring and critiquing how long-term roles shape performers. A commenter shared, "What fascinates and frustrates me about actors in these shows is how certain habits become second nature over time, all because they're embodying the same person for years on end." This observation rings true in the soap world, where mannerisms like Carly's yelling can evolve into defining traits, much like a signature catchphrase that sticks. Picture Wright navigating countless scripts filled with heated dialogues, her delivery honing that intensity to perfection, yet risking predictability to invent a fresh angle. Maybe this ties into behind-the-scenes choices, such as directors encouraging amplified emotions to heighten the melodrama, ensuring scenes pop on screen amid the fast-paced episodes. It's a double-edged sword. These ingrained tics keep characters consistent, but they can also pigeonhole actors, limiting opportunities for fresh interpretations that might refresh the narrative. Critiques of Laura Wright's portrayal have been particularly pointed, with some feeling it falls short in capturing the complexity of an anti-heroine. One frank opinion stated, "Laura Wright simply doesn't bring enough intrigue as an actress to fully embody such a multifaceted anti-heroine like Carly." This viewpoint underscores a desire for more depth, where Carly's schemes and loyalties could be portrayed with shadowy subtlety, rather than constant clamor. Envision scenarios where Carly orchestrates quiet power plays, like subtly manipulating alliances at a Quartermain gathering, allowing Wright to showcase a wider range of skills. Fans speculate that injecting elements from Carly's past, such as her connections to the mob world or her maternal instincts, could balance the aggression with vulnerability, making her less one-note and more relatable. Yet, the current approach keeps her as a force of nature, dominating storylines with her unapologetic style. Further expanding on Wright's take, another fan elaborated, "Her version of Carly is ultra-assertive, domineering, full of contradictions, and perpetually dialed up to maximum intensity. It's a bold stylistic pick, and while it's engaging in doses, I just wish she wasn't hogging the spotlight quite so much." Compared to the show's other intriguing leading ladies, this highlights the screen time imbalance, where Carly's arcs often eclipse those of characters like Ava or Elizabeth, who offer their own brands of complicated heroism. To creatively enhance this, consider how this dominance could lead to meta storylines, perhaps with Carly reflecting on her own loud persona during a therapy session, or a rare moment of self-doubt, adding ironic humor and growth. Invented details might include fan-favorite crossovers, like Carly teaming up with softer counterparts in a crisis, forcing her to tone down the volume and reveal hidden facets. Her hypocrisy preaching loyalty while bending rules fuels the bossiness, creating rich fodder for conflicts that keep Port Charles spinning. As these discussions swirl, the broader impact on General Hospital's landscape becomes evident. Carly's vocal habits could influence upcoming plots, maybe prompting interventions from friends who urge her to find calmer ways to express frustration, leading to character development arcs. Fans imagine twists where her shouting backfires spectacularly, such as alienating allies during a high-stakes feud, or even health scares tied to stress that force a reevaluation. This element ties into the show's tradition of evolving personalities, much like how other icons have mellowed over time, offering hope for a more balanced Carly. With so much passion from the audience, it's evident that Carly remains a polarizing powerhouse, her traits sparking endless debate. Whether her volume is a flaw or a feature, it keeps her at the center of the action. Naturally, to see how this all plays out, will Carly dial it back or crank it up even more? Devoted fans should make it a habit to watch ABC General Hospital every day. What's your take on Carly's signature style?